Welcome in, my brothers and sisters. Let me get that suitcase out of the way. It's a professional stream. This is the thing here. I hope you guys are having an amazing night. We have got some stuff that we got to talk about. I am in the middle of traveling for Thanksgiving, and these people decide they're just going to strike down all the gun control nationally while I'm traveling. So we're going to talk about yet another thing, which is incredible. Earlier today, we had something awesome. This is equally as awesome. I'm going to let some people filter in. Make sure you guys... Oh, I've already hit about Maryland. No. Maryland was earlier today. This is something else, beautiful people. Make sure you got me on 5x5 on audio and video. It looks pretty good from here, but I just want to make sure we're solid before we get going and everyone starts filtering in, because this is a big one, guys. This is pretty awesome. All right, we got some Michigan. We got some thumbs up. Great day in many places. 5x5, let's go. Awesome, good stuff. We got a lot of people saying it sounds great. Good. Here we go. Let's make this happen. Kirk, you nailed it. We are going to talk about Oregon. Good stuff. I'm going to give it a few seconds, let everyone get in here. Man, here we go, guys. I love this. This is good stuff, seeing you guys all in here. So we got about 400 people, so we're going to kick on this. If you guys have not noticed, I am traveling. I'm outside of the war wagon, but freedom's got a freedom, even when I'm out of business or out of the business operation. This is massive, guys. This is massive. So make sure you send links out, you send likes out, you share this bad boy. This is the second massive victory that we've gotten today. This is all around what they've coined the toughest gun law in the nation, coming out of Oregon. Now, this is a really big deal, guys. Reason why it's such a big deal is the left has pinned all their hopes on this, because a lot of the things that they're going to try to do all come from their aspect of Measure 114. Thank you so much. We get a heart for that super chat. I appreciate it. Sorry. Never mind, won't let me do it. I tried, though. Thank you so much for that super chat. But guys, we are talking about Oregon Measure 114. So I'm going to get into this a little bit. I'm not going to have graphics on screen. I will come back with another video, but I wanted to drop this because we just got where we were going. But the state judge rules that Measure 114 violates the Oregon Constitution, striking it down. Not injunction, striking it down. This is a really big one right here, guys. Now, let me just scoot down here and remind you what this actual order was, or 114 was doing. So, sorry, I'm not used to doing it over here like this. Basically, you've got, here we go. It would require a police-issued 5-year permit and federal criminal background check on all purchases. So universal background check and licensure to own. Okay, that's a big one. Sound familiar to Maryland earlier today? Then they, after the 5-year and the universal background checks, they also required gun safety training before you even owned a gun. The measure bans the sale of magazines holding more than 10 rounds of ammunition. And then they leave an exception for people who already have larger magazines, which is of course silly. Thank you so much for that super chat. Which is, of course, silly, because their whole argument against extended magazines is the fact that they're going to end the entire world as we know it, but they're letting everyone keep them, which makes no sense. The big thing about this is the permitting to purchase. This is something that they've been hitting consistently, the requirements to even own a gun. That's what we're seeing over and over and over again. Now, if you guys saw the video from today, the Maryland ruling struck that down in the Fourth Circuit. This is a big deal. It's falling like dominoes everywhere. And what have we said on this channel ever since we started doing this content is they are going down a road they're going to lose because they're overstepping their bounds, and it's eventually going to end to the top of the pyramid, and they're going to hit a wall. You're seeing the ATF hit a wall. You're seeing Maryland hit a wall. You're seeing Oregon hit a wall. Illinois is going to be wrapped up in this. AR bans are getting wrapped up in this. The Seventh Circuit's getting involved. All of this is culminating, and the bottom line, we can do this, and we are doing this together. This is a big one. Now, let me show you what this judge said in Oregon, because they are real upset on the left. Check this out. Attorney General Ellen Rosenblum vowed to appeal the ruling, and the case will likely go before the Oregon Supreme Court. Likely, not guaranteed. The Oregon Supreme Court has to take it up, which then gets into the higher courts. This is the thing that's so important about this, because there's state level, and then there's a federal level. This is a big one, okay? The federal level, we're going to touch on that in a second. There is, I believe, Immergut. I want to say the name is Immergut. There's a judge that said it's perfectly fine because large capacity magazines have no ability to defend anybody, and they're just egregious. And that's what they said at a federal level. State level is what I'm about to show you, okay? Here we go. This is breaking as of about 2 hours ago. A Harney County Circuit Court judge permanently blocked Oregon from enforcing Measure 114 Tuesday, that's today, saying that it infringes on the right to bear arms under the state constitution. The ruling will prevent the gun control measure from taking effect, but the state said it will file an appeal. Of course it's going to file an appeal. They have to take an appeal. And I will look at all these comments here in a second. Let me just finish introducing this here. Welcome in if you guys are just coming in. This is awesome to have you here. So if you guys are not familiar, I'm just going to read it one more time. Measure 114 narrowly passed by voters because it was a voter-based passage in 2022, calls for stricter gun laws in Oregon. It would require a police-issued 5-year permit, federal criminal background check on all gun purchases, as well as required gun safety training. The measure bans the sale of magazines holding more than 10 rounds of ammunition. So that alone is a big deal. And it's been on hold since September. Now, let's keep going because this is where it gets really key. Earlier this year, this is the federal judge. Earlier this year, a federal judge ruled that Measure 114 is lawful under the U.S. Constitution. Now, this is important. The distinction that they're throwing out here, the U.S. Constitution. Finding that large capacity magazines are not commonly used for self-defense and a permit to purchase system is constitutional. That ruling is also being appealed. Now, the backstory here, exactly, Captain, the 2 A's on a roll. The backstory here is on the U.S. Constitution level. This judge said the magazines can't be used for self-defense, and that therefore permitting to purchase is lawful through the Bruin decision of what Kavanaugh said. There's a lot of pieces to this, but that's something that we covered prior. That's why we cover all these things. So as we're walking through this, understand there's federal and there's state. This was just ruled unconstitutional on the state level, which means they cannot do it. Now, on Tuesday, which is today, Circuit Judge Robert S. Rascio ruled that the 2 major provisions of Measure 114 violate Article 1, Section 27 of the state's constitution. Quote, the people shall have the right to bear arms for the defense of themselves and the state, but the military shall be kept in strict subordination to the civil power. Why is that hard to understand? Why is that hard to be? That doesn't seem hard. It seems pretty straightforward, right? Well, they did it anyway. That was the whole point. The ballot measure that they passed did not hold water, and that's why it's running into state level issue, which is what we're talking about. And I will get right in here in 1 second with all the chats because I see a lot of you guys saying some great stuff. So in the ruling, Rascio, and this is the same judge, by the way, who put an injunction on it earlier in the year, Rascio said the Measure 114 does not increase public safety, despite arguments for state lawyers that the new regulations were intended to reduce mass shootings, homicides, and suicides, which is ignorant at best. He stated that the 30-day window to process a gun permit application would allegedly prevent Oregonians from properly defending themselves from an imminent threat. Yes! He's directly hitting against the waiting periods. Guys, gun control as a overall movement is finding a way to run into walls everywhere. It's like a game of Minesweeper if you guys are my age. They're just hitting mines everywhere, right? Because they've overextended. Now, let me keep on going because, again, he's hit on waiting periods and self-defense. Rascio also argued that nearly all people who own large capacity magazines are reasonable gun owners who are not identifiable risk to their community nor cast an unjustifiable risk or threat of harm to other citizens. He stated that the large capacity magazine ban wouldn't deter shooters who could simply carry multiple 10-round magazines and reload quickly. Yes. Hello? Of course you're just going to reload. If you're intent on evil, do you really think capacity is going to hold you back? No. This judge is openly calling it out, and I love it, and I love every second of it. This is so delicious. Now, I'm going to keep on going a few things. Go down a few more things here. Here we go. The Oregon Attorney General. Then we'll get to your questions. Thank you so much for the... I did meet you a few weeks ago last week. That was awesome. Thank you so much for the super chats, guys. This is the Oregon Attorney General. This is the person who's going to try to fight this, okay? Quote, the Harney County judge's ruling is wrong. Worse, it needlessly puts Oregonians' lives at risk. The state will file an appeal, and we believe we will prevail. You believe wrong. It hasn't been enacted the entire time because it's been unconstitutional the entire time, and there hasn't been a direct correlation to any more violence or anything wrong. They are wrong. Anyway, let's keep going. Let's see. Yeah, so this is one of the petitioners who actually passed it. This is the last thing I'll say here. Measure 114 was passed into law over a year ago, said Reverend Dr. Mark Knutson, one of the measure's chief petitioners. Voters were clear that these life-saving policies should be the law in Oregon. We know these policies have been upheld by courts in other states. Bing, bing, bing. Other states. We'll get that in 1 second. And though we have anticipated Judge Rascio would rule the way he did, we have been preparing for the appellate process for some time now. We are ready to move forward in the Court of Appeals and even the Oregon Supreme Court to get Measure 114 implemented. The only problem is it's still unconstitutional. They knew that they were going to do this. They knew it was going to get struck down, and yet they continued. That's what we're talking about here. This is an incredibly important piece because if you look at what they just said in other states, that's the point, guys. The reason that we are bullish on freedom on this channel, bullish on the Second Amendment, is because we can beat them. We just have to accept the fact that we can beat them and stand up to do it. That's what I've been preaching for 2.5 years now. We can absolutely do this. We just have to keep focusing on it. They just brought in other states. Well, we can bring in other states too. You remember Maryland this morning where the Fourth Circuit said, yeah, you can't do a permit or a license to purchase a gun. That's kind of unconstitutional. Yeah, that's an important piece. I'll get into 1 second. What's up, guys? Now, just in case you guys are brand new coming in, I will put all the links in the description. But there's one more thing here that is key. Just so we can say it one more time, here's what we're talking about. Measure 114, narrowly passed by voters in 2022, calls for stricter gun laws in Oregon. It would require a police-issued 5-year permit and a federal criminal background check on all gun purchases, as well as a required gun safety training. The measure bans the sale of magazines holding more than 10 rounds of ammunition, but leaves an exception for people who already own larger magazines. It's gone, it's dead until the appeal process begins. That's the key here. This will not go into effect because the state level judge just held it unconstitutional at the state level of Oregon. A federal judge has somehow done some mental gymnastics and said large capacity magazines are legal and it's constitutional, are illegal and it's constitutional to restrict them. That's kind of where we're at. Okay, so now let me get to your statements over here. These are the pieces that we really need to dive into. So if you guys have some comments or something, put them right down in the chat. I can read it perfectly fine. But what do you guys think of this? Good news, great news, pending news? I'm curious what your thoughts are when I break this kind of stuff, because a lot of the time I can't really see all your comments at the same time. But to me, this is massively important news. This is one of those things that is key, and I'll respond to whatever text you put in there because I got a few more minutes with you guys. But this is a big deal. This is a big one. If you guys have anything, throw it in there. But man, this is so awesome. Finally caught a live. Welcome in here. Does this affect the Illinois magazine ban? Robert, it does not immediately, no, because it's only one state. Thanks for the updates. Winning, that's right, we are winning. But it only passed in 7 of 36 counties. That's true. It still did pass on a state level, just saying. But we're still going to beat them either way. 10 rounds is an arbitrary number. That's true. Maryland and Oregon, it was a very good day. Heard anything about 114? That's what we're talking about. What's the headline? The headline is 114 has been struck down. This is the toughest gun law in the nation has been struck down. So this is a really big deal, guys. I'll link everything as well. This is the kind of stuff that it's going to work by itself in one state, and Maryland's going to have the circuit decision in one state, and Illinois is going to get a 7th Circuit decision in another state. Pretty soon, they're all going to work in the same direction, just like the bump stock ban, baby. Because the bump stock ban is now going to the Supreme Court because it had 2 different circuit courts saying 2 different things. That's the point. And this did narrowly pass. I don't have anything from Rhode Island yet. I'd be in New York. I wish I could do something about that. So that's the stuff that we're doing right here. I'm trying to read these 10 rounds, 10 commandments. We'll take the wins. That's right. We are winning. Hey, the only way we get them out is voting. I know a lot of you have the response to that, but I'm just saying it is. But guys, this is a really, really big deal. If you guys are just now coming in, Measure 114, smoked. This is amazing. I think this is an incredible day. We had Maryland Circuit Court smoke them around today. Then we had the Oregon 114 fall today. This is so much bigger than just the large capacity magazines. This is yet another example of a judge striking it down because of unconstitutional gun control desires. And it's amazing. And I'm here for it. And like I said, I'm traveling, and I'm glad I can get this out and spend some time with you guys. But let me know what you think in the comments field below. Just make sure you like this video, send it out, and I will see you on the next one. Have a beautiful day, guys. I'll see you tomorrow morning.